pick here for Tactical.
Yeah.
Going to be interested to see what the pairing will be. If Lost and SwordArt want to look towards something a little bit more on the scaling side, things like Aphelios Thresh, a very common pairing, is available.
Yeah, cool to see the sort of idea from the TL draft. Like the first two bans is like, look, we know we're not going to go for these right away. The third ban was, hey, can we get Varus uncontested? We can. They went for a Viego ban. Hell yeah, we're in there. So nice little plan to get a bot lane advantage. You're expecting this to go well for TL off the priority picks. Completely different look, though, for the TSM side. Will they take Thresh away to make Aphelios feel less safe?
Yeah, I really like that point because basically, you know, the priority here has been getting the #1 jungler, right? So they grab Aphelios, they grab their half of that bottom lane, but they took the Diana first, which does mean you have the opportunity to steal away the Thresh if you care about it. On the TL side, CoreJJ is an incredible Thresh, so I do think it could be a pretty good pairing. I do think it works fairly well with the Varus. Tahm Kench coming through, could be support, could be solo lane. I tend to think it actually just works a lot better in the solo lanes.
Yeah, me too.
We did see that Huni actually brought it out as a pairing with Aphelios, played it in support, but it doesn't fill the same role that the old Tahm Kench with. It's more like a set now than it was like the previous defensive one, where it's really good at scrapping with other melee supports, and it is really good in those brawls, but it doesn't bring the same level of safety. So hard to know, is this going to be solo lane or not? With GP coming through, that's for sure top. So now you're looking mid or support, and I start to feel like Jensen's not the guy to play Tahm Kench mid, which makes me think it is just their bottom lane.
Yeah, this pick right now, I think they would have loved to have the flexibility, but they realized, look, Gwen is still up, and Gangplank is our Gwen answer. So worried about that getting grabbed third, and Huni taking over the game top side without a counter pick. So GP is going to be blinded and now answered by Jayce. So Huni's still going to have some priority up there.
Yeah, a lot of priority. You know, this is a very good matchup, a very aggressive matchup. It does mean Thresh can be banned out, so Aphelios maybe hung out to dry a little bit. We'll see what defensive pairings they want to put with him. You can pair Aphelios with the more aggressive matchups, but it can be difficult at times for him to be as successful without the Thresh, without the old TK, those types of champions. And you do expect Thresh to be banned away here from the TL side. Volibear, so targeting Armao in the jungle. That's been a pick he has gone to recently. You know, if you're worried about melee pairings, I wouldn't be surprised to see something like Sejuani getting banned out as well by TSM, because that's been another Armao special that he's played really well on and works really well with melee solo laners.
Which he's going to have some of. We'll see. Well, Thresh taken off the table, as you said. Again, yeah, TL, the Tahm Kench is 90% support down there. There's always a chance Jensen's learned it. I think Tahm Kench is, as we've seen, you know, very good solo laner. Ablazeall's one on it. He's a good top laner too. Volibear off the table. We'll see what's next.
I think it's great. I just don't think Jensen's the guy to play it, right? Yeah. You know, like in his career, he's never really gone to the tanks. That's never really been in his wheelhouse. He generally likes to play the more scaling champions.
There's your call.
Sejuani as called. Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. It's a smart ban towards Armao. It pairs well with the GP, can punish some of these pushing champions like the Jayce. Can be difficult for him to escape from those kind of ganks coming through. Will it be another support ban? If it is, I think Nautilus makes sense. Otherwise, you probably just throw a mid lane ban out towards PowerOfEvil, ban away something like the Azir or the Victor, some sort of comfort. Nautilus, though, is the call there. So targeting the Aphelios, trying to reduce choices, does make sense. Of course, you can go towards like Leona for SwordArt. That's something he's very, very comfortable on. Enchanters would be another option, but I just don't think it's something that he really plays a lot, and it's something that's not really in the meta. So I am just expecting like a standard Leona pick, engage support, pair that alongside him.
There you go.
That does come through. So then it's just the question of A, what's the jungle pick, and B, what is going to be mid lane? Is there that possibility of Tahm Kench being flexed? I think we're probably looking at some sort of a melee mid coming through, unless it is going to actually be that flex, which would be pretty interesting. You know, I'd be excited to see Jensen play it. We did see Ablazeall do very well on it yesterday. Olaf as a jungle pick makes some sense, but then you would need AP from your mid lane for sure. So Trundle coming through, it's the same thing. I think we're going to get a mage mid, maybe like Orianna or something like that. Victor, Azir, any of those control mages I think makes a lot of sense. It's probably going to be one of those three.
Seems likely. I do like Trundle, though, and if you ever are in a mono damage type composition, the Leona stacks Harmon, you're like, that's fine, here's 40% off. It's like you didn't do that in the first place. So it can line up okay when your Trundle Twisted Fate is going to be the lock-in. So A lot of globals. I want to point out the Tahm Kench, the new W, the knockup. It is nowhere close to the range of the old ultimate.
It's not global.
It's like a regular engage spell. It's like Leona E range. Like, it's just a normal skill, right? So Tahm Kench no longer global. Varus, yeah, a bit long range, but clearly not global there as well. So a lot of map mobility for Team Liquid.
Yeah.
On the other side, TSM need themselves a mid laner for PowerOfEvil, so it will be mage on mage. TF versus Azir as we lock everything else in. Tahm Kench in support. See how it goes with Team Liquid.
Yeah, I mean, the TF really does change things as far as the style that you're going to play, though, of course. You know, when you're comparing that to some of these other style of mages that I was mentioning, like the Azir, the Orianna, that kind of style, more towards the 5v5. Jensen going to be looking more towards playing side lanes. You have a pretty strong 1-3-1 setup potentially here. You can punish someone like the Jayce who wants to push and can maybe bully that 1v1 against the GP, but when you're pushing, you're exposing yourself to that roam from the TF. And Tahm Kench, Varus, plus the Trundle is a pretty safe, pretty solid three-man squad there in the middle. But it's going to be up to TSM here, and largely PowerOfEvil, to keep Jensen locked in lane. You do that through pushing, you do that through winning the 1v1, make it difficult for Jensen to move from his lane to try to punish Huni, because that unlocks Huni to play aggressive and win his 1v1. So it's all kind of connected here, and I think that you have to see TSM playing from the advantage, you know, in these 1v1s, really trying to lock their opponents down so that that Huni can be unlocked to kind of go crazy.
Alrighty, on to the Rift we go. Team Liquid and TSM, the latter currently in possession of a playoff bye. There are 7 games still to play and only 2 between these two teams. We'll see if TL can get a hit back and maybe wrest that position away by the end of the regular season. See if they can make it happen. It's going to be a fun one. A bit of a different look in Champs League here as well. I am a big Trundle fan. I think he's a great jungler. Cool to see him for sure on the Rift. Nice to see more variation in mid as well with Twisted Fate coming through. And just a fun, volatile matchup, right? Huni and Alphari are outstanding laners here, and Alphari, who typically wins almost every lane he's in, is up against the Jayce. That can be tough.
Really can. A lot of the range matchups are the most difficult ones for GP. I mean, let's be honest, GP's trading pattern is very simple. You melee a minion, you get combat, you get the grass proc, and you Q them, right? Yeah. And when you're playing against a melee champion, often there's not really much recourse for them. They kind of just have to take it. When you're playing against a champion like Jayce, can be pretty dangerous. Ooh, I like that.
That's a cool level 1.
Didn't actually find anything with it, but the W start from CoreJJ is pretty interesting, because if you're in Tribrush and you get knocked up there, the timing was pretty good from TL coming in from multiple angles. So TSM was stacked, they were ready, but I always appreciate the pre-planning on these level 1s. They don't always pan out, but there's very little cost to it because everyone was around him had there been someone in that brush. So pretty cool stuff.
Jensen gold card's the guy, and that's, you know, you can flash follow kill. Like, that's just Huni down first blood, and if he flashed the way, that's him down flash. And guess what? You win top lane now. Congratulations.
Exactly. I mean, you can't push then because you're worried about the Trundle ganks and stuff.
Yeah.
Huni is taking phase rush, which of course is very standard, especially when you're playing against Trundle and you're playing solo lane. It's so standard to go phase rush because Trundle's gank setup is just as slow, right? And phase rush kind of just invalidates that for the most part, as long as you can proc it quickly.
I will say this is actually one of the best games for Trundle, and there's like 4 reasons why as a Trundle secondary. All right, so number 1, anyone who has plus armor MR on the kit, which is Leona, 2. Outstanding. Feels amazing. Number 2, she's running Aftershock, which is more armor MR to wait to steal away. You pull that fool in negative, feels outstanding.
3.
Number 3, which is going to be a bonus because there's 4 of them who apply to this rule. If you don't have natural self-dashes, Pillar screws you. Phase Rush is pretty good, so Jayce only half credit.
Okay.
But what does Aphelios do against Pillar? He flashes the Pillar? What does Leona do? Flashes the Pillar? What does Leona do?
This one's taking too long.
Dashes into your team and dies? Yeah, we're good. 3.5. I got 3.5. All right.
All right, I respect it.
Thanks.
Good job.
Anyway, Pillars are really good against TSM's team, and the Subjugate or King's Tribute also really good against TSM's team.
I love the pairing with Varus too. When I'm playing a poke champ, Trundle Pillar sets it up very well. Good job, we got there.
Thanks, man.
So we're seeing the push here from PowerOfEvil. He's playing Comet, lane dominant with the rune setup. That's what you want to see, because the way you deny TF from really getting out of lane and doing what he wants to do is just by poking him out, by locking him in lane, by getting the push here. Early on, though, Alphari with a great job here, getting those early trades. Does take a tower shot, but it wasn't heated up, so it's not the end of the world. And Jayce doesn't have a lot of sustain built in. You know, he might go towards Eclipse and get that sustain there, but they're actually setting up for a potential dive. Spica is in the area, so I think there's not really that much chance of this working, but Spica's a little bit slow.
They want it. They TP in the mid laner as well. Here we go. Big damage on Huni. Knocks him back. Flash out of the turret. First blood comes through to Trundle. Red buff doing some work, but now PoE is in, and Armao, yeah, he's gonna smite for some health. He's gonna auto Krug to get some more, but there's a red buff on him, and he is dying. Spica gonna take the kill. Might have tried to hand it off PowerOfEvil, but couldn't quite make it happen. Spica gets the trade kill.
Nicely done, but that's actually huge because Jayce loses all that farm. That is the biggest deal. They get first blood plus all the farm denial. So Huni went back to base with 10 CS, right? And he's not going to get an effective buy as a result. I think Spica tried to be a little bit too clever there. You know, he was trying to kind of lay a trap. So notice how far Spica back he was playing, right? He was thinking, okay, it's just going to be the 2v2. They're going to start for the dive. Huni's going to live a while, then I'm going to come in and I'm going to clean him up. In this situation, I think they just underestimated the TP coming through, and had he just been under tower with Huni, I don't think they can actually pull off that dive. So he was looking for greater rewards, but he was at a greater risk as a result, and it ends up going in TL's favor. A nice aggressive move towards topside. You like seeing the TF get up there, and the strong early laning from Alphari really did set it up, because Huni was down to like 20, 30% before they even started, so.
Flash of gold card, knock up for Tahm, Kench, not gonna be there in time. Good sidestep by PowerOfEvil. Did have to flash it, of course. Didn't get to use a soldier for that one, so that is summoner down.
Yeah, it's also CoreJJ's flash, though. He flashed for the W to get in range, because the early ranks of the W, you know, it's really short range. So, you know, he did flash in to try to follow it up. It is the two flashes traded there for just the one of PowerOfEvil. So, not too bad on the TSM side, but I like the aggressive moves here from TL. That has been something they've been criticized for.
He's here again. Armao times the Q between turret shots. Doesn't take any aggro. And here's Armao. Here's CoreJJ. Tactical, you know, 1v1. Enjoy that one. Huni just gets out of the way. Spica around. Top lane turret almost down a plate. But both supports are here. It's a 2v2 top lane. We got lane swaps back as Tactical gets rooted and walks away. Oh, Court. Yeah, that's going to spot him.
Huni is just having a really tough time. I mean, he's out of corrupting potions, charges. He has no TP. So every little bit of poke here is dangerous, and that's why TSM is staying around for so long. They know they need to get him this wave. They need to get him some sort of reset timing here. Jayce from behind against GP is so tough, because if you can't win the all-in, if you can't step forward and threaten that, then GP can pull off that same kind of trading pattern where you're just queuing him on cooldown and taking these short trades and slowly whittling him down, because the Jayce doesn't really have the built-in sustain. But SwordArt and Spica cover him. He gets the reset. The wave is in the middle, so it's not that bad. But he is still playing from behind, and this was supposed to be this position of power, but TL really did a great job with that early dive and kind of flipped the matchup on its head after some great laning from Alphari.
And meanwhile, bot lane is interesting. Obviously, Tactical had a great recall off. Longsword plus tier feels really good, but first item Vamp Scepter for Lost I think makes a lot of sense, because you are against this Varus poke. You don't have a good way of dodging it. You will get whittled down. Like, the man's got tier. He's not ooming before your health bar runs out. So I don't know if it means full shield bow or sitting on Vamp for the entire game. But, you know, kind of needs it to withstand this lane, so I think it's the right choice. Yeah, we've been seeing more shield bow rush on Aphelios, so I do think it's going to be the option here. I think it's just going to be full shield bow into Zeal item, IE third, or maybe LDR, depending on how much armor is actually built up. But it's just a very effective item, you know, especially when you're playing without a more defensive support. I think you need the ability to be a little bit more tanky, to be able to sustain through some of this stuff and hopefully survive through the dive. He's obviously playing cleanse, but that shield bow proc will be quite valuable if they do try to dive into the back line and take him down. Yeah. Gale Force could have been valuable in the sense that he can get over killers and whatnot, and, you know, kind of build some space there as you're getting knocked around. But yes, you know, with cleanse, with shield bow, he's like, well, TF's ulting onto me, need to cleanse the gold card. All right, Tactical's going to poke me at a lane. That's going to be rough. GP ult, like, there's no counterplay. I'm just going to take damage. So, okay, let's keep the health bar high. And yeah, definitely makes sense in the team comp. Glad to see we've got some really good kind of options here as far as mythics. I think that has been really good for AD carries in most positions, at least for most of them. So cool to see. And now we've got to fight for a bottom scuttle. But Spica and SwordArt are here, and Armao, despite having some bot pressure, well, it might be a little bit tougher, but CoreJJ's on the way. P with mid control makes that a little bit harder, but the reinforcements are here first. Pillar comes down, does not reveal Fog of War, but makes it not easy to walk in. And ultimately, as the top laners trade back and forth, bot scuttle will go to Team Liquid. The gold game is 1,200 to their favor. And until Huni can get into a position where he can take, you know, effective long extended trades, the matchup is going to stay bad, because you always will lose the short trade. You know, Jayce really does win out when you are then
winning the subsequent trade, right? He Qs you, you Q him, you jump in on him. Most of the damage is front-loaded there from GP, so you've got to be in a position where you can take those aggressive moves, but Huni just is not. So he's just in survival mode right now. Still does not have TP. And Jensen is 6. Of course, he's kind of locked in lane this second, so he can't just make a move immediately, but you know, Jensen could be making a roam towards top side in the foreseeable future with that ultimate.
Top is pushed in, and Alphari walks his way down because guess what? The Rift Herald has spawned. It's 8 minutes in, and Armao wants it. Fights it from the brush, gets rid of the control ward, and has teammates around. Eats some honey fruit, keeps going. His smite is not up for a little while. He did go for all 5 smites pretty quickly, so even though his next one's 900, doesn't have it just yet. But no one's around. They don't have vision into that top right side, but ultimately either they knew Spica was somewhere else or they didn't think he'd be there. And they get the first Rift Herald, no problem. CoreJJ walks over to mid, and we're going to have a pretty early Rift Herald summon to knock down some turret plates. Keep in mind, top lane's already down 1 plate. Bot lane has taken a bit of damage, though it hasn't been farmed yet. So we'll see what happens. Good cross-map play by TSM. Spica going to go for this one.
Yep, going to be able to get something back. If you're not in position to challenge the dragon, don't even bother. Instead, focusing down here towards bot. We'll see if they can get a plate or anything, but it probably will just be a reset. They do have a pretty big minion wave, so Lost stepping forward, trying to get a little bit of chip damage, and we'll see if he can actually knock down that tower. With all the ranged minions, doesn't take too many autos, but CoreJJ is trying to threaten the all-in, trying to push him back, and I don't know if he still has the assist tag or not. He still does. Okay, that's good.
Cool. All right. 150 gold earned, a little bit of money in the pockets. You can see the game is still at right about 1K, so not huge. Right now, TL do not have a lot of vision control of the brush. They're not sure where Leona is someone getting trapped. CoreJJ level 5 means it is a little bit fearful for Varus. You can see how far back he's playing, has no idea anything but that front brush where the Leona might be. Defensive control spots the river, okay, but a blast plan can still shortcut that somewhat. How far back are we playing? SwordArt makes sure to never reveal on the wave in this recall. Tactical says, okay, did I get anything out of this one? Did it stack my tier? No, it didn't. Okay, they're not in that brush. Cool, I can take this wave. But brush 3, we don't know about this one yet. CoreJJ still not level 6, so play it safe.
Yeah.
Poke lost a bit, but we still don't know where SwordArt is.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and SwordArt is pretty committed to this play. Will step out now. And I'm going to be interested to see how CoreJJ kind of plays in the team fights, right? You know, does he dive in aggressively, you know, try to use the Devour offensively, or is he just going to sit on tactical, use the W in place to try to peel, to try to eat up his ally, give him that big shield that comes with the Devour now. Of course, it is an extremely long cooldown. It's like nearly 2 minutes, I think, at rank 1. So, you know, the uses are few and far between. But when you're looking at, you know, Diana plus Leona, that is very scary for a Varus who has no cleanse. So I do think Tahm Kench is going to have to try to play defensively and utilize that ult to really save his marksman.
Nice by Armao, takes away the big chicken. Level 7 on both junglers. Has been a somewhat low farm game for the junglers. They've been really busy holding up lanes. Not horrible, just, you know, they've been busy, right? They've had to help the team out, so a little bit under what they would have liked to have been if they had the chance to free farm, but moving around nicely. Divine Sunderer coming in first. Looks like free boots and Armao on its way towards Mercury Treads as he's making his build come through. Alphari sitting on a 15 CS lead, pretty clean up in the top side. That ward is good. The barrel, I believe it was, spot Spica, but in a, you know, yeah, he's just got a ward chilling right there on the brush. Not going to be a problem. Knows to play it safely. Not going to play up until he's got any support here. Nice try in the poke. Can't quite get it.
Yeah, just kind of wasting Spica's time. You notice every time he starts recalling, he starts edging forward as though he doesn't know. Yeah. And then as soon as the recall is going, he, you know, stops, he backs it up. So he's just trying to waste his time as much as possible. Like, he knows he's still there, and now he knows for sure he's still there, spotted on the ward. So this is a good move here from Alphari. Also holding the wave so that Huni couldn't fully reset to give him the safety to recall there as well. That's just more time wasted up on that top side. Alphari, known as an absolute lane monster, has remained true here. Huni picked for the matchup, but the team coordination, the strong early laning got the advantage for TL, and they're just kind of sitting comfortably at this point. TSM, though, do have really good scaling. I mean, you have Aphelios and Azir, you have Diana. These are all really great late-game champs. But TL going to drop the Herald on bot, go for the invade at the same time, and try to get a little bit of both.
Okay, blue buff underway. Spica says, okay, I can get this Gromp safely, but now with CoreJJ's ward, he knows where the other two are. Smite is easy. Again, 900 plus a chomp is a pretty reliable one. Knocks down the defensive wards from the rest of TSM, and they can still threaten this one. You can see bot lane turret very, very low. The Herald charge did nicely. Farmed plates number 2 and 3. Shield bow is done for Lost, has completed that one. Not all the way to Mythic here on tactical side. as they are within about 10 CS of each other. A little bit more to farm for Last. It should be about a 6 CSD if he last hits it all well, and then we can keep on moving forward.
Yeah, everything pretty even as far as that does go, especially when you consider Lost was just zoned off some of that farm because they were threatening that wraparound, had to wait for Spica, had to wait for SwordArt to get down there for him to be able to get access, but he's going to be farming pretty comfortably. And we'll see where TL wants to go on this reset, if he'll be straight back towards bot, if they want to try to make a move towards top and look to try to punish here whatsoever. Huni at least getting the push now, does get a plate down. I'm not sure if he had the tag for gold off of that turret plating, so unfortunately he doesn't get that. But he's still sitting in a bit of a tough spot. I mean, you know, when you do fall behind as Jayce, and one of the difficulties with this champion is that you don't have a tremendous amount of kind of comeback mechanics. You can group and poke and try to play it through that, but GP is going to be strong in the side lane, and you're always going to have to contend with the threat of TF joining in. So it's going to be difficult for Huni to really get a lot of work done in these side lanes.
Power spike in, Divine Sunder, Alphari can finally one-shot Cassius with a parlayed barrel. Auto the melees a few times, and now it's time to just earn money. Looking at the game so far, Gangplank off his early dominance has been looking good. Again, the CS lead now closer to 20, so has been continuing to accrue an advantage. The Mythic not done for Huni. Teleport difference here. Huni can join. Alphari can only ult. Does TL fight for this one? TSM have Dragon number 1. Armao has a blast plant, has a flash. Not going to go for this one. Claimed. TSM 2-0 on Dragons on the way towards Cloud Soul. Ulti coming across for Jensen. Not going to find a good target yet. CoreJJ nearby. Leona going to stop the chase. Decent damage coming out from Lost ulti as well. Just really slows him down. And honestly, TSM, they saved their teleport. They burned GP ult. They burned Twisted Fate ultimate. They got a dragon. Well done, TSM. Yeah,
well done by TSM there. I think TL, after they went for that kind of semi-engage, were hoping to maybe get enough poke down that they could take the mid lane tower, but Alphari here on the wraparound. TP's coming through.
Dangerous for our boy Gangplank because PowerOfEvil is here, jumps over. Alphari has flashed back to his turret, but it's a 4v1. You flash and you're still just gonna die. Alphari takes the wave and takes an L. Spica claims the kill.
Great move here from TSM. They get the dragon on the bot side. They get back towards top and they punish. Plus no TP on the Gangplank. Means this tower is going down here for the Jayce.
Nicely done. Huni gonna get first turret to himself. Well, not first turret. Bot lane first turret was a while ago. I take that back.
First turret that he took.
First turret of TSM's game is on that one. It's not worth any extra gold or anything, but it is still money in the pocket.
Get a gold star afterwards.
It is a gold star. I agree. That's actually pretty apt here. So there we go. Claims Rift Herald number 2. TL got the first. The TL, honestly, 3-1 on epic objectives so far. We'll see now which turret dies. I really, really do like, because of the changes 3 patches ago, 2 patches ago, trying to find a tier 2 turret in a side lane to kill a second Herald. Because it's just worth 50% more than the other turrets on the map. It's just a really good surge of gold to go for. It makes it really worth trying to get that as your objective.
Absolutely.
And so, like, hey, if you're willing to steal a red buff because the gold difference, you should be willing to try to get the side lane tier 2.
Now, this is a pretty big swing potentially in the matchup now that Eclipse has actually come through. You know, Huni is going to have some sustain, is going to be able to shrug off some of this Q poke, so he may be able to then look for the more aggressive extended trades that I was talking about, and that's the kind of position that Jayce needs to play from. So, got some help there. They made a good move towards the top side. He got the turret gold, and he's playing from a pretty good advantage. You can see TL trying to threaten a move down towards bot, but Spica and SwordArt are actually covering the push here from PowerOfEvil, and that's just good play because they know that Azir in the side lane is going to be vulnerable. They push back the TL members, and now they're trying to be first to collapse here. Will they actually commit to it?
Oh, Alphari getting attacked. What else is new? I feel like he's been really taking a lot of pressure since his return to the roster. Yes, his CS leads are good, but here we go. Armao wants in. He's going to be stunned up, though, and bursted on. Can he get the ulti off? Not a chance. He casts the spell, but dies right away. Nice flash by CoreJJ. Gets away from the Shurima Shuffle. Nearly a second kill thanks to PowerOfEvil. TL walking away, but clearly TSM have done well to answer with kills. Gold difference still TL's favor, but TSM have control of the map, and they've got the dragons.
And I think it's going to be Herald mid. Yeah, they just want to get this tier 1 knocked down here. Huni on the collapse, so he's on the wraparound. And TSM have just done so well in this bottom quadrant of the map here over the last couple minutes. You know, pushing back multiple members, keeping PowerOfEvil safe, and then backing off and kind of pretending that they had recalled, that they had reset to lay that trap for Armao. So, you know, playing around the fact that they know TL wanted to go for the Azir, Here is TL one more time. SwordArt in trouble, and the TF ult's coming in.
Has Flash, wants to save it, but no, there's no way out. He knows he's done for, so takes the death. Alphari gets the kill credit with the cannon barrage and his own auto attack, so nicely done to get something back. But look at this, Huni is still on the split push. Thinking back to his SKT days back in around 2017, on the sideline on the Jayce, gets a big lead and shows up when he needs to, but he's going to play for himself, and it's going to work.
Yeah, they're trying to punish TL every time they look for one of these moves. You know, you see Tahm Kench down there, the TF ult comes through, Huni knows he can push up, knows he is safe to shove in, deny some waves. And it's just kind of been this split map situation. You know, you just look at the vision line here, set up on that bottom side. You know, it's all this vision around this bot side for TSM, and up on the top side, it's kind of this line of pink wards across here for TL. So they're trying to set up the safety net for Azir. Azir is not a side lane champion traditionally, and as a result needs more support to actually be safe in these moves. That's why SwordArt has constantly been hovering down here. That's why they have all these wards committed, so that PoE can push up, can get this farm, Lost gets the safe lane mid, and Huni's just kind of on his own top because he is more of that intended strong side laner.
All right, bot lane under fire. Dragon up in 20 seconds. PowerOfEvil unchecked down here, but mid lane's being attacked as well. You can see the power of that pillar. Lost has to flash to survive it, because he was definitely dead to Varus ulti afterwards, and you can't miss that without flashing. So that was pretty big. Mid lane kill happens on the turret. Bot lane the same, though, and it's time to coalesce around this dragon.
Yeah, and Jensen's up on the top side. He does have TP, but doesn't have ult. We'll see if he wants to join, because TSM are just forcing the issue. They see Jensen top, so they want to start this fight immediately, force Jensen to react, or just take the free dragon.
Smite. Oh, snipe!
Oh, that was actually close.
Yeah.
Down to about 107 HP there, I think.
It looked like Spica
didn't have
damage
smite,
for a second. Yeah. He stopped damage. It felt like he stopped damage. Like, I don't know if they had vision on the Varus or not, but it looked like they waited for a second. Arrow came in. Okay, cool, last hit. We could watch that again. There's likely to be a replay, because I'm very curious if that was planned around, and if they even had vision for Varus.
Just based on the cooldown that Spica had, I don't think he had smite at all available for that.
Yeah,
so, so you know it gets low. You're expecting some sort of skill shot to get thrown over the wall, so waits it out. Smart play from him. TL, though, not overcommitting. They take the top tier 1, but this is now sole point. Right? And the Cloud Soul here is actually pretty decent, especially if you're trying to play in side lanes, trying to answer the side lanes. Move speed always very valuable, especially against some of these more binary champions. We'll see if they do have any sort of vision. Spica does have smite. Okay, yeah, so he did actually just smite post. So that was just smart. He paused at about 1,000, 1,100. You know, just making sure that the skill shot would come through, then secures with the smite. Smart stuff from them. And we'll see if TL is going to try to contest at this next dragon. Cloud Soul, not the most desirable one. Most pro teams don't play around it very heavily, but still, if you're trying to play 1-3-1, I do think that the move speed is a big deal in the side lane. Yep. It's harder to actually be safe pushing out these side lanes. You can get more easily chased down, you know, not only by Huni, but by the potential collapse from Spica as well as SwordArt.
It's interesting. TL actually really wants the ulti haste. It feels like they're going to play more around.
GP, TF, Varus, so big.
Yeah, those are pretty meaningful. Leona's is so short that, like, you almost don't need it. It's up for every fight, and it's never up twice in the fight, so you're never getting like a different, like the next breakpoint. But yes, we'll see if TL can find their way back on this one. They've held the gold lead, right? It has been a fairly slow game trying to play really heavily around global, but they've just given objectives, right? TSM have gotten almost every single one of them for the last several minutes. Obviously, 3 unanswered dragons. They got the second Rift Herald as well. And at this point, really, the gold lead that TL has is just Gangplank passive.
Yep.
And if you trust solo queue data as measurement of pro play as well, Gangplank is an early game champion in that, like, most of his wins actually come from fairly early surrenders. It's the early dominance, the early spikes, the grasp Q poke to win lanes. He actually doesn't have, at least win rate-wise, the best late game. Because eventually he caps out on items, and then everyone else just keeps scaling past him. So
yeah, if you go to super late game for sure, right?
But yeah, it does actually decay after like the early surrenders for solo queue. This can of course be different for pro, but just sharing the info that I have.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting, right? You have to think about the situations in which Gangplank really succeeds in late game, and generally when people are talking about Gangplank being beast in late game, they have in their mind that image of the one-shot barrel, right?
Yeah.
Where your 6-item GP, the barrel hits the carry, and you're like, well, we win.
Yeah, but that's also rare.
It is, absolutely, right? And that's why it's always contextual, and it's kind of makes League of Legends to me much more fun to think about, right? It's thinking about the situations in which champions are really powerful, because there are pros and cons to all champions. Not all champions are strong in all situations. So, you have to think about the ways in which you succeed, the ways to play around your advantages, not only champion-wise, but compositionally, right? And that is then taken to the next level at Pro, where you have two teams trying to, anticipate what their opponent's advantages are and answer those, or anticipate their moves based off what you would do in that situation. And that's where it becomes this kind of back and forth game of chess that I think is so fun to watch.
It is really fun. And right now, we have an Aphelios who is scaling. He's on Shield Bow Hurricane, on his way to item number 3. Infinity Edge, almost certainly. You don't have that much armor stacking. It is going towards a Randuin's Omen on Armao side. That's going to be a little bit difficult to deal with, but CoreJJ on a support budget has pretty much 0 bonus armor at all anywhere.
I mean, the straight-up DPS from the TSM side is just going to be way higher, right? You have 2-item Azir, 2-item Aphelios. It's not close. So it's about playmaking for TL. They have got to get picks with this rapid-fire Everfrost type setup. You have better engage, you have better picks with the long-range gold card, with the root over top of that. But your team fighting is weaker with this build and just with this champion compared to your opponents. So, they have got to get side lane advantages. They've got to find a way to catch TSM out, split up, get a kill, and then collapse off of those types of moves. Because if TSM can keep playing at this pace, can keep keeping their side laners safe, keep setting up for the 5v5s, they will get the soul, and they'll be just sitting in such a comfortable position.
Nice by Alphari. Notes Huni auto-attacking, gets the Q in early. Well played, actually. That's pretty clean. Gets the wave down. 2.5 remains the gold difference. And again, we now fight over the dragon. The 4th and final maybe for TSM as they push towards Cloud Soul. Scholar's Whim is good. Teleport's coming across. First barrel combo does not land on anything. No Varus poke either. Finally gets a Q, but SwordArt blocks about half with his own W activation. Ward control going the way mostly of TL, but TSM unperturbed. They knock down the barrel. 10 gold to Huni. His poke's not going to land. Gate gets them in. Looking for the play. Big damage, but Leona is not an easy target. They don't actually go for that one.
They're just trying to play it slow, right?
Yeah.
They're just trying to actually poke them out. They're going to try to use the Jayce, or excuse me, like poke out this Jayce, poke out the members from that TSM side using the Varus, the Trundle pillars, the wild cards, barrels over the wall. So I think they don't want to hard commit because they're worried about the potential of the Diana flying in, the Azir flying in and knocking them down.
Azir Aphelios team fight is just brutal, so it is poke and TL not letting TSM get the dragon low, not doing it themselves, not playing around the steal, lost at half. And Lost has a wave down in bot lane, but if he goes for it, I think they could just start the fight and TL get dragons. So, still playing it around. When's the engage come in? Spica waiting in the wings, has a blast plant, could jump to dragon, and use that as the way in. And nice poke on a tactical Huni, doing most of the lifting there. He's been revealed. He's been spotted by the Scryer's Bloom, and Gangplank is on the way back down to fill it, and TL have to give it up. Huni pushes him out of the fight. Who's got the better poke? It's Jayce.
Yeah, well done there from Huni. It was kind of this back and forth battle of just who is going to have to give it up first. A lot of good early poke came down from TL, but it was actually one of those situations where Green Gun was pretty effective there for loss. He's able to have a long-range Q poke with that. You have Jayce landing these shock blasts. Diana's trying to throw Qs over the wall. Everyone was trying to contribute, and it just ended up being Tactical taking a few too many shots. And I think in those situations, you could be somewhat critical of CoreJJ and Armao for not tanking more of those. Having the Tahm Kench, you keep eyes on the Jayce, stand in between them, try to take those shots. I'm not sure if the read from CoreJJ and Tactical was just that Tactical will just dodge them and no one will get hit.
Yeah.
But you definitely don't want this Varus to be eating too much poke because he was their main win condition in that fight. He was the guy that was supposed to stay there, soften them up, and then maybe find that hard engage after they're already low HP.
Minor point, Armao pivoting his build, had double recrystal, sold one, has gone Glacial Shroud towards Frozen Heart now, so going more for the ability haste, and wants the attack speed slow for Lost. I find that interesting. Lichbane is done, plus Rapid Fire Cannon in for Jensen. That's looking good. But we have QSS in for PoE, looking good so far for TSM.
Yeah, so I think he wants to get the CDR, just get that pillar cooldown low. CoreJJ, though, he's going to go in for the W.
Going to find the no knockup, but he will find some slows. Stunned up. Armao marked by Spica. Look at the front lines back and forth. Everfrost slow coming across. Now Alphari forced to run backwards as Jensen wants to re-engage. Big damage out of Diana! And Tactical is gone. Armao going to front line. They might trade back SwordArt. No, he's going to live as well. The Azir Soldier's not letting TL walk forward. TSM take the 1-for-0, and they're right in front of Baron.
Spica just deleted Tactical, and he's one of the strongest members for them. TL low health bars here also. The lock having come through there from CoreJJ. He saw the shock blast coming in, couldn't dodge it. Oh, that's actually quite a lot of damage there. The gold card with the rapid fire.
That wasn't
coming
even stacked deck.
through.
That was just those.
He is a Lich Bane completed. So that is the real big deal there. The poke from Jensen, pretty significant when he can land it. And that's going to dissuade them from going any further. But we've seen how dangerous it is for Tactical. You know, CoreJJ wasn't there to devour him, to actually keep him safe. And Tactical uses the flash, just ends up going down. And the most concerning part about that is it wasn't even flash off of Spica PowerOfEvil to actually kill him, right? You know, he got caught out, he got taken down. We can see this one more time. Trying to use the GP ulti to set up for the TK. The fight on this side was largely just kind of an exchange as Huni comes through, but it is Tactical on the side here trying to flash the Azir wall, but that Azir wall late in the game, very, very wide. And back to live, we can see that they are on the Baron. It has been spotted. TF ult was popped, so TL are coming.
5v5, this could decide the game. Tactical comes in, ult's gonna miss, 3k health, found down, scooped in, PowerOfEvil! How about the power of a double kill for your jungler? TL are kicked out of the river. 1 kill for Armao, it's not gonna be enough. They are getting slaughtered, running away for their lives. TSM have shown up to play.
What a turn there from TSM off the Baron. They knew Tactical did not have his flash from the previous play. PowerOfEvil with the flash up, I called it out, and he flashes in and just erases TL, sweeping them in. They don't go for the 50-50, they go for the turn, and make no doubt about it, they get the Baron, they get the kills, and they have full control of this game. Soul in their pockets, they are cruising.
All right, clear away of Honda performance play, and as you mentioned, the turn is
all
good.
Eyes on PoE.
Flash scoop on 3.
Yeah, that is just so nicely done. SwordArt setting it up. He gets onto Tactical. Tactical is locked down. CoreJJ was there as well. But the Devourer does nothing if you get scooped in too, and PowerOfEvil caught all of them. The turn was very crisp there from TSM, clear comms. No one staying behind on the Baron. It was clearly a call. Everyone turned instantly, kill them. We will then go back to the Baron. And they have gotten themselves in a really strong position as a result of it. TL close in gold, but compositionally struggling. They haven't been able to get significant advantages in the side lane for quite some time. They are playing this more split pushy style of comp, and TSM feels like they've just outscaled them in the 5v5. The QSS even coming through here from PowerOfEvil. Stopwatch on Lost. They want to play it safe.
They're happy to hit the tankiest member on the squad. Stun's going to land. Armao, though, got the ulti off. He's got too much durability. He'll survive it. But the turret's getting destroyed. Bot lane's already under fire, and they're ready to keep on going in. Huey's going to summon a turret in mid and keep the siege going. Still a minute 40 on the Red Bull Baron power play, and this is going to be a lot done. Probably these 2 inhibs, maybe the game itself. Depends how aggressively they want to play it. Elder Dragon in a minute means you might have to be careful about how aggressively you play, because that's going to be a game-ending buff in itself.
Yep. And we do see that there was a trade on the top side. Alphari pushing up there. But TSM don't care. They just want to take this second inhibitor here. I think they will probably fall back towards the Elder, because if you get wiped and give over Elder, that's a win condition for TL. We'll see how aggressively TSM want to play this, though.
Lost takes a bit of poke. That will be double inhib, and yeah, the pillar does not ever really stop Azir.
I like
Recall's
this.
coming in for a couple. Those with TP, I believe, are the ones doing it. Now, Aphelios can take his recall as well. Infinity Edge, likely to be why he's doing it. And it's time to play for the Elder Dragon.
And I mean, just look at the vision, right? You know, this kind of tells it all. The bot side of the jungle, there's nothing. You look at the map as a whole. Where's the furthest ward forward? It's in their base. It's this ward right here. So they can't see anything. No shot at really getting out here without just kind of making a mad dash towards it. They can pop the TF ult for reveal and try to play off of that. They know they're in the pit. They know that they're around here, and they are making their way over.
I mean, how do you handle the TSM bot side? It's TSM and 4 wards, all this giving vision. And they can try to walk in, but how do you stop it? Maybe a miracle steal. Armao has his smite, has his ult. Gonna walk into the front line, chunked down to half.
Spica.
Because PoE sees him. No shock blast yet. Yeah, Spica waiting around, doesn't find the battle. But TSM would rather not coin flip the smite. They'd rather just take the kills.
But Spica played that so well. He baited out Jensen's ult to try to engage on him, and he just rocket belted to safety. So now they don't even have that to reach backline. So how do you get to Lost and PoE? It's all up to Tactical for the poke here, and he has got to be on point.
Mid push in, double TP for TSM. Even if they lose Dragon, they get TP into the base and just kill it right then. So they're waiting around, they're getting some time. Ult comes across, Zhonya's early for Spica, gets away from the barrel. Armao down to 500 health, needs an ult target to get his health back up. It's not in range, that CoreJJ is low. and one shot will kill the man, but Spica is low as well. They got to be a bit careful. TL playing the poke pretty nicely. GP separates, Spica has a flash out. He can QE in. Can he get the Elder? Oh, Aphelios sets up for 2. Dragon goes over to Trundle, but is it going to be enough? Of course it is not. The kills came in first. Lost picked up so much. The quadra kill for Huni. We've seen it before, and he TPs into the base. He and PowerOfEvil, 12-4 in kills. Ready to go for the Nexus turrets, and TSM continue to just knock down Team Liquid game after game.
What an incredible final fight. They're so back and forth. TL getting multiple TSM members very low with the poke coming through from Varus, but TSM, they land that massive Aphelios ultimate.
Yeah.
Huni flying in, he's been nailing shock blasts, and they dominated in the team fights. Very clear calls on when to turn for fight, when to commit for the objectives, and that felt like such a clean performance from TSM around those objectives. When you look towards the Baron take, the turn there, when you look towards the commitment on the fight, they're getting poked out, and when you're playing against these long-range comps that want to play it slow, you have got to be on the same page. When you go, everyone must go. TSM did that so damn well there. Damn, PowerOfEvil is so good at Azir.
Yeah, he is. I'm happy with him playing the champions, man. There are plenty of good mages still in the mid lane. I know I see the Twitter comments, the Reddit comments, like, you clear a game like that, like, clearly the game still allows you to play Azir. Like, clearly the champ is still good, just play well.
And, I mean, Viego got nerfed for solo lanes,
Sure.
Nocturne got nerfed for solo lanes,
That helps.
Sin got nerfed for solo lanes,
That helps.
Lost Scepter got buffed. So I don't think you even need to play it. Here it is one more time. You know, Varus have been poking them down. They're trying to use the Varus plus the Trundle combo. Spica's incredibly low, and this is where you're starting to think, you know, one more big arrow and Spica are lost, and you could maybe just win this fight. But they stack up here. Look at Lost stepping forward. This hits all 3 of them, bouncing everyone. That damage was insane! The Shock Blast coming through at the same time. The go buttons are pressed. They are immediately in there. Great team fighting there from Lost. He saw the opportunity as TL clumped, because really, you know, one WQ from Varus, if that actually hits him, he maybe dies from the health that he is at. He did have lifesteal, but they didn't give him access to the dragon to actually get it. They did a good job zoning him off every time he stepped forward to try to auto. Jensen was stepping forward and saying, no, you can't. So, you know, it really was this back and forth. Really fun fights to watch. Both teams playing out very different comps, and this was a good game.
It was a good game. Well done to TSM. The bot control really was it, right? Like, they got the dragon stacking. That's what kind of led their way in. So good job, TSM. A good win. I think they're tied right now in wins against 100 Thieves. Now, before you go to the break, if you enjoyed our featured preview matchup this past game between SwordArt and CoreJJ, consider purchasing a premium subscription so you can watch them battle every time. And if you're on the fence, allow me to sweeten the deal. Starting tomorrow, you can watch all 10 POVs. The incredible 5-game series between Team Liquid and Cloud9 at the mid-season showdown.
That series was sick.
It was a very, very good series. Now, we are stepping away, but when we return, Dash and the State Farm